Okay, we're going to go through some raccoon-sized cage traps and just talk about them for a minute. This is the Wiccan camp style cage trap. I very much like them. They're very stout. They're a very good cage trap. I consider them to be kind of a meat and potatoes cage trap. I would take a truckload of these and go out and make money with them, no problem. The stall out points on a raccoon cage trap for a percentage of raccoons, not all raccoons. A lot of them will just go straight in and never have a problem committing to the trap. But a certain percentage of raccoons are going to stall out on this line, and they're going to be reaching, trying to get your bait. And a percentage of them are going to stall out right on that line where the trigger is, and they're going to reach across to try to get the bait. That's why we put bait under the trap, or we enclose bait in the back of the trap at times. What we can do to cure some of this stalling out is put grass clippings in, dirt if you're in a dirty environment, but I pick up grass clippings at brush dumps here locally, and I will often cover this threshold and this wire. Peat moss will work, but it blows in the wind just a little bit more than other things do. Use your imagination. Just use something that's natural, that doesn't interfere with the function of the trap. The Wiccan camp traps come in either the 1/2 inch or the 1 inch. I have both. As some of you more experienced guys already know, you got to be careful where you set the 1 inch, because the raccoon's going to reach out and damage anything that it can reach on either side. It's going to tear siding off of houses, things along those lines. The 1/2 inch cures a lot of that. However, right here, there's a hole cut, and every one of these for the trigger, so you can get into the trigger. They will do a certain amount of damage right outside of that hole. They can reach out of it, and they will find it, and they will reach out of it. So be careful if you're on a rooftop or something like that to still put something under your trap, or you'll have shingle damage there, no doubt. So this is a gravity door trap. So by gravity door, that's what, once it activates, it drops, they will reach out the front of these traps. Even the ADC type 1/2 inch, they will do a certain percentage of reaching out. They've sealed some of this up, but they will do a certain percentage of reaching out, both with their front feet and their back feet. They'll flip right over on their back, and they'll reach their back legs out, and they will destroy anything they can reach out front. The gravity door traps should usually be staked down, if you can stake them down, because the raccoons can flip them, and once you flip this trap upside down, the door comes open. So get in the habit of staking them down, especially when mama has babies following her. If the young get caught in here, she will flip the trap on you, almost guaranteed. This is the Duke trap, raccoon size trap. This one's brand new out of the box. I'll put it into circulation this year. We're about to get into the height of our raccoon season. The Duke trap is just an average trap. I use a lot of them. I make a lot of money with them. I'll use this Duke trap out of the box as is for this season, and then this winter when I slow down, I will be putting finer 1/2 inch mesh wire across the door to keep reaching out from occurring. I'll be actually putting a heavier duty handle. This will get me by this year, but my handles don't last very long on these. And I will also be wrapping the existing wire with heavier wire as I get time from partway back up where the 1 inch holes are. I just don't like the 1 inch holes. I don't have all mine done that way, but I try to every time I have time wrap them that way. And I always beef up this handle, especially if you get two coons in the same trap. That weight, eventually this handle just is kind of light duty, and definitely needs replaced. A lot of guys complain about the Duke traps. I don't have a beef with them. I use them in a lot of my higher risk areas, especially, but excuse me, I use them all the time. I've got a lot of them. I just kind of modify them a little bit to my wishes. The only trouble I've had with them, once on a job I had a bar come off the door. I always now check the welds, but in the interest of full disclosure, I had that happen with a Wickenkamp trap too at one point. The other thing I've had happen with these is if they're going to blow out, if a raccoon is going to blow it out, bust out a hole, and I've had a couple of them fail, it will be right in through here, and it will be, in my experience, I've only had a couple of them do it, a nursing female that's got babies. She just fights the trap that much harder. Higher quality trap will stand up to that. If the Duke has a weakness, it'll usually be, I had a couple traps that I think there was some problems with the wire they were using, maybe on a few batches or something. A couple traps, they had welds break, and I haven't seen it in other traps I've bought it at other times. So I assume, I don't know it for a fact, that maybe they had some bad wire come through and didn't catch it, the company. And what I've done with those traps is I've wrapped them with better quality wire. But the bulk of my Duke traps, I just run them, no problem. And I stake these down. Gravity doors are definitely a concern. I run a lot of the tomahawk style traps. I love them. Wouldn't be afraid to go out with them any day. Like the 1/2-inch wire, they're pretty heavy duty built. You don't really have any reaching to speak of the raccoons. The only time I've seen raccoons reach will be out the front, and it'll be right through this gap here, and they'll do a little bit of damage to the dirt or sod or whatever right out front. There's not a lot of room there, and sometimes they kind of cut their foot up on it. You got to be careful, but they will reach out there. I don't stake these down. They're spring-loaded door. It seems to me like the threshold is not as noticeable. I say that when we've watched surveillance videos my customers have of coons going in traps. I've seen with a Duke or a Wickenkamp beside one of these style traps where the raccoon wants in, but he'll stall out on the more aggressive threshold of that, and then he'll walk 2 feet over, same bait, same setup, and walk right in one of these. Only the raccoon knows why he did that, and I've seen it several times, not just a one-time event. So I wonder if there's something different about the threshold. And at the time those occurred, neither threshold was covered with grass clippings. They were just bare bottom traps in both styles, the Wickenkamps and these, or the Dukes and these. I'm really starting to like these tomahawk style traps. Looks like my tag's about to fall off. A lot. Probably going to buy a lot more of them. I only own a handful, and I wish I owned a pile. They are very, very, very good. The animals don't seem to hesitate to enter them, from what I can see. They are sealed. Customer can't see the animal. I can just dump a little chloroform in there with them, and they're done. Time I, load them in the truck and head them out, they're done. There's no fiddling around with dispatch. If you catch a skunk, a little bit of chloroform and he's done. No muss, no fuss. I can assure you I'm going to buy a lot more of these. People don't automatically lay people that are just walking around the neighborhood automatically identify this as a trap, which is kind of nice if you're worried about theft. Everything's contained. The animal's contained. I wish I'd have invested in them sooner, and I'm going to invest in more. There's no real problems. There's just a little bit of play in the door. I haven't had any real problems with any successful reaching out towards the front, but that would be the only concern I would have if I was on a rooftop especially. I would still probably put a barrier down of some sort under the front of this, just in case you had one with skinny hands or whatever that could get them out. Very, very much like these traps. Highly recommend. Doesn't have to be the tomahawk style. I would say any trap built in this style is probably pretty darn worthwhile. So that's just kind of a quick tutorial of the types of raccoon style, and I catch a lot of groundhogs in them too, but we're going to talk primarily raccoons is what I use them for. I have caught some fox in the wicking camps, not the others. Interestingly enough, I've only caught a few fox, red fox. I don't do that much. I don't have much call for red fox work. But interestingly enough, a fellow out east who does a lot of fox work told me on one of the forums that he finds that fox will enter the wicking camps more readily, and he has caught a lot of foxes. In fact, when he does fox jobs, he uses the wicking camps. And he has just really not had any luck catching fox in other styles of this size cage. He has got a lot of numbers behind him, a lot more experience than me when it comes to fox. Well, when it comes to anything, really. And I definitely hold his opinion in high, high regard. His name is Paul. I don't know if he wants to be outed on here, so I'll just keep it at that. But I try to give credit where credit's due.